Hello, homemakers and everyone on the chat. We are live, we are live, we are live. And I guess I should say everyone on the chat or on the replay. On today's episode of Homemaking with Purpose, we are going to dive into homemaking and homekeeping. Whose job is it? That is the question. Homemaking and homekeeping. Whose job is it? So I see I've got my friend Hawaiian CC is here. She's saying, God bless me. I will take it. I will take all the blessings God can send my way because Lord knows I need them. And then I've got Ronnie who says she's sweeping and mopping her kitchen so that she can be ready for tonight. And I tell you what, guys, I was so excited about tonight, and I did not prepare a slide deck for you tonight because I wanted us to just kind of talk and just let the flow go and the show go where it wants to go. So the first thing I want to ask you guys is this. What is homemaking? That is the question that's on the table right now. What is homemaking? Because if the question is homemaking and homekeeping, whose job is it? We first need to understand what it is. So let's talk about that. So good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. So again, I'm waiting for you to drop it in the chat. What is homemaking? And then we'll have another discussion in a minute. But what is homemaking? So hello from Learning Miss O. I'm glad you are here. I've got Bonnie O from Tacoma, Washington. Isn't that interesting? We've got Learning Miss O and then Bonnie O. So hey to both of you guys. And then my little sister, Jerry Barber, is here. Hey, Jerry, I'm so glad you decided to join us tonight. We got people here from Washington, people here from Indiana, people here from all over. And Janice Diggs says it's great to hear me sharing today. Well, you know what? It's not just going to be me sharing. I'm hoping that you guys are going to share as well. And then Dawn T, how you doing? So hello to everyone in the chat. So while I'm still waiting for someone to drop something in the chat as to what is homemaking, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and let you guys see what is the, well, I think I'm going to share my screen. I don't see this share screen option all of a sudden. So let's see. Let's see, where is the share screen option? It's just not present, which is interesting. Well, I guess that has never happened before. The share screen button is just gone. I'll send a message real quick and see if I can get any help real quick. We'll see if anyone can get with me pretty quickly about that. But yeah, let me just pull the screen down a little bit, see if I'm missing something. No. It's just not here. So I did look up the definition of what it means. Is now labeled, oh, present. Okay, got it. They've got some new things going on. It's now labeled present. So I'm going to hit present and then we're going to present screen. Now it is saying share screen. And I can click out of that little message somehow. Well, I guess it'll just have to stay there because I don't know how to get that off. Okay. So we're going to be looking at the definition of homemaking. And when we look at the definition of homemaking, one of the things that, Wikipedia, which is the current one, kind of shows all kind of good stuff. It says that homemaking is mainly an American or Canadian term and is for the management of a home, otherwise known as housework, housekeeping, housewifery, that kind of thing. And let me get my iPad up and I will get it ready so that I can see what you see on my iPad. So I'll get that up. Ready so that I can see. Okay, so got that turned down. So now I see that you can see that. So now, homemaking, mainly an American and Canadian term for the management of a home, otherwise known as housework, housekeeping, housewifery, or household management, that kind of thing. Other definitions of in American English, the establishment or management of a home, duties of a homemaker, and then as an adjective, is of or pertaining to the management of a home. So there's that. So there's that question, what is homemaking? Now I am going to stop sharing and see what your thoughts were in that regards. And okay, so I got the chat off the screen now, thank goodness. So now let's see what people are saying over here because I really want to have some conversation from all of you. So Ronnie says for her, homemaking is managing her home. And you notice that when we were looking at that definition, managing the home was a large part of that in all both or all three of the definitions that you could see on the screen. And then Sue H. Hey, Sue, it's been a minute. And she says homemaking is making your house a home, your comfort zone. And I'm going to say, boom, that's one of those definitions that I certainly love because, according to us at the Apron Diva, we say that you're the art in the art and science of homemaking. So now what does that mean when it says you're the art? That just means that there's an art and a science to homemaking, and the art is the therapeutic use of self to create a warm and cozy atmosphere. And that includes the decorations on the wall, the flowers on the table, the meals you put on the table, how neat, whether you're minimalist, maximalist, whatever. It's you are the art. Excuse my indelicacy. And the art and science of homemaking. And then, of course, the science is creating nutritious meals, whether you do paleo or keto or diabetic diets, if you're vegan, if you need to swap out baking powder, baking soda, all that good stuff. That's the scientific part that's associated with homemaking. So Journey from Amani says making home a home. And yes, making home a home because you can live in a house and you can live in a home. And I think there's a difference, and let's see what people say. So, and then Susan is definitely in agreement with Journey with Amani, who says homemaking is making a house a home, no matter where you reside. So that, and I hadn't seen that when I said you can live in a house or you can live in a home, because all houses are not homes. So there's that. And then Janet says, anything you need for everyday life is homemaking. Okay, I got you there. And then Bonnie says, a homemaking to me is a cohesive agreement with the couple of the home and comfort as well as family values. Now, let me ask you guys a question while we're talking. So, in my thumbnail for today's episode of Homemaking with Purpose, I purposefully chose an image. Excuse me, all of a sudden I got this tickle in my throat. I purposefully chose an image of the man and the woman like at odds with one another. Not like this kind of at odds, but it was like you could tell they were at odds with one another and they were arguing about something. So I want to know, what did that image say to you? How did that image capture your attention? Let's talk about that for a minute, because that's something I want us to get into. Like I said, is homemaking and homekeeping. Whose job is it? Now, I'm not asking you whose job it is just yet. We'll get to that in a minute. Right now, what I want you to think about is what is homemaking, and then we'll get into what is homekeeping. So Janet again says, anything you need for everyday life is homemaking. Bonnie says, cohesive agreement with the couple of the home and its home comfort as well as family values. Definitely values are certainly a large part of that particular home, because your values are going to determine to a large part what it is you bring to that home. Um, Learning Miss O says for her, homemaking is creating a safe environment for her family under one roof. I like that. A safe environment. And that's how most of us think of home. Most of us think of home as somewhere that we can be safe, we can be ourselves, we don't have to put on airs. And you guys know, like, you guys take a look at me tonight. I'm looking quite comfortable. And well, I've been home most of the day in and out, but I am also at home with all of you. Now, granted, there's going to be some people on here that I've not met before, but this is a very welcoming community. It is a very safe community. So I feel safe tonight showing up as I am and as I've been most of the day. I did comb my hair. I did put on a dress over my yoga clothes because I kept my yoga clothes on after I did yoga and I was doing some cleaning and this, that, and the other, and I had to run out. So I threw this dress on over the yoga clothes so I wasn't running around in, yoga pants. And when I got home, it was time to start dinner because it was like 4:30 when I got back. Left the house at 2, got back at 4:30. But I was smart enough to take the meat out of the freezer yesterday that I planned to cook for dinner today. So when I got home, I could just keep it moving, get that dinner started. Hubby was coming in late tonight because he was out fishing. So, and I was trying to get ready for the show. So he got home probably about 6:30, 6:45, and I was starting to put things on the table. Just got him fed before I ran up the steps. So it was like, okay, you guys, this is what you get tonight. But I feel comfortable showing up to you as I am, because this is part of my home. This show is my safe zone. So yes, I agree. It is a place where you feel comfortable, where you feel at home, and I feel at home with all of you. So hey, Deb, how you doing? Good to have you here tonight. So Carol, let's see. Carol says homemaking is organizing all of your home. Meal planning, grocery shopping, home decor, budgeting, planning family fun, and teaching to your children. Homekeeping involves the whole family. Okay, I like that thought. And Fly Lady Cat will talk about homekeeping and involving more than just you doing that. We're going to come back to that in a minute, though. And then Joan, how you doing? She's joining us for the first time. She said she's in for a treat. Hopefully you are. And Grandma McGee says she's glad to catch us live. Homemaking to her is making her home comfortable for herself as well as for her family. And then Terry from Georgia is creating a place for people to come in from the outside pace of the world and find a safe place to relax and a place of security. And yes, I agree with all of you guys there in that regards to homemaking. And so MJ Bates says her husband works hard to give them a very comfortable lifestyle. So she doesn't mind taking care of the home and the children. MJ, we're going to come around to that in a minute too. So don't you go anywhere. As some folks say, don't you go nowhere, because we're going to talk about that as well. And then Shania says homemaking is a business all on its own. It's pouring into your home and cultivating the most sacred space for you and your family, from the meals, the vibes, to the overall godly touch, your castle, right? Your home, your castle, that kind of thing. And then several people are agreeing with with MJ, or Shania, let's say. And Dawn says, why isn't that coming up? Dawn says homemaking to her is managing the home with love. And then learning with Miss O. Well, Miss O says your thumbnail shows a conflict of duties between the couple. Okay, I like that. And Gamma McGee says the image looked like the roles were not established. She says she takes care of most of the inside. He does most of the inside. So you do most of the inside, and he does most of the inside. We both pitch in where it's needed. I'm wondering if you meant he does the outside, and then I can sweep the porch, and he takes out the trash. Okay, but again, it sounds like you two have split some duties. Okay. And Patience says they are still establishing their home one day at a time, and her hubby is a willing helper. Patience, how long have you been married? Share that with us, because I don't remember. It's been a minute. Yeah, that's what I thought. Gamma McGee says her husband takes care of outside, she takes care of inside. Okay, so we've looked at the definition of homemaking from a number of your perspectives. So now let me just... And then Chanel says the thumbnail looks like a miscommunication of who should be doing what. Okay, so Patience has been married 2 years, so she is still a bride. She's still in that bride phase, in that honeymoon period, and they are still working things out. Okay, so now I am going to share the screen again. And I'm going to go back to the homemaking term just one more time, and then we will look at homekeeping. So almost all of the things that you guys talked about in regard to what your definition of homemaking was is represented right here. It's scheduling and overseeing. The description of the homemaker includes the scheduling and overseeing of the lawn and household maintenance. And so one of the ladies was just saying that she takes care of the inside, her hubby takes care of the outside. So that includes the lawn, shoveling the snow, all that good stuff. Laundry, basic interior design, and managing other household staff. Oh yeah, I've got several household staffs. The maid, the cook, the gardener. The other household staff is just me and him. And unless you have children, then they can count as other household staffs. And then homemakers can expect to buy food, household supplies, settle various bills, budget, that kind of stuff. So there's a definition there. And then let's see. There's other places that you can look here to see what the definition of homemaking is. But I think we're going to leave it there for right now. And now let's take a look at homekeeping and what that means. Oh, well, before I share with you guys what homekeeping is, now tell me what you think homekeeping is. So what's your definition? Well, I'm going to just go ahead and show it up there because let me find it. So when we take a look at homekeeping, and there actually is a little difference between homemaking and homekeeping, but they are very closely related. So when we take a look at homekeeping, they say homekeeping, the definition according to the Collins English Dictionary, housekeeping is the work and organization involved in running a home, including the shopping and cleaning. And it's looked at as a part of housekeeping. It's kind of synonymous with homekeeping. If we look here, when that's housekeeping, I did find one for homekeeping. What is homekeeping? And homekeeping is a rarely used term more commonly known as housekeeping or homemaking, but it refers to the process of keeping a home clean. And then you can find all kinds of things about how to manage and keep a home, that kind of thing. And then here's a book that I highly recommend you guys taking a peek at. And it is this one, Home Comforts, the Art and Science of Keeping House. It's one of the books that I've recommended before. Here's another one that I've recommended, and it is by Martha Stewart, and it is the Home Keeping Handbook. So, there's lots to look at in regards to that. So I'm going to stop sharing right now. We're going to come back on over StreamYard. So now I'm going to ask, what are your thoughts in regards to home keeping and how it differs from homemaking? Or do you see homemaking and home keeping as the same thing? Let's talk about that. So you guys type that in, and while you're dropping your gems in the chat, from my perspective, home keeping are those things that we do to keep the house, housekeeping, such as the cleaning, the laundry, um, the different things you do to maintain the home itself, making sure that the washer and the dryers and all that runs properly, or getting someone out to take a look at that. Um, the home keeping also includes, from my perspective, the mowing of the lawn and all those things on the outside of the house that's necessary to maintain a home. So often home keeping and homemaking is used synonymously, but I think there's just a little bit of a difference in between the two. Now, Sunny says women seem to be better at the multitasking of homemaking. Well, I think, Sunny, that could be because that is the image that we most often see. But if you have someone that's a professional homemaker, and you do have some men who are professional homemakers, such as butlers and major domos or major D's and those kind of things, or we also have house men who run and manage a home. And I'm sure they would disagree and would feel that they can multitask as well as a woman. It just depends upon, what it is that you're doing. Having a hot flash here, ladies. Sorry about that. So Bonnie says she sees homekeeping as the maintenance of a home. And that's the way I see it. And Hawaiian CC says, Hawaiian CC, tell us your name. We like to call each other by name over here. So she says homemaking is a beautiful thing, and I agree. And making a house a home for your husband and your children a sanctuary. Absolutely, because that is what it's supposed to be, a sanctuary for you and your family. So Ronnie says she thinks it's the same thing. And there's a lot of people that agree that homemaking and homekeeping is the same. I think it's just a little bit different because I see the homekeeping as more home maintenance, cleaning, and that kind of thing. And let's see. Terry agrees. Terry agrees with me. She says homekeeping is the art of doing tasks that keep a home clean and running smoothly. And then Miss O says homemaking versus homekeeping, an interesting thought. So now let's talk about whose job is it? That's the question. And that was why I put that very interesting couple who were obviously at odds with one another in that thumbnail, because I wanted you to think about that. And I was talking about this very topic with one of my sisters when I was on the way home from the different places we were at today. And I told her this was the topic for tonight's show. And so when I ask you guys, whose job is it to make and keep the home? Tell me your thoughts. Whose job is it? Now, I've been making and keeping it home for more than 50 years. So I certainly have my perspective, but I want to hear what you guys have to say before I jump in with what mine is. So Patience says she sees homekeeping more like the tidying and organizing. That's my thought too. I agree with that. And homemaking is keeping it comfortable and a haven from the world. That's the way I look at it. But it's okay if you see homemaking and homekeeping as the same because it is definitely very much interwoven. So, yes. Aha. So, Patience says the job of homemaking and homekeeping is the job of hubby and wifey. Okay. And Felicia says both parties. Okay. Oh, so hey, Heather Smothers, good to see you today. Heather says whoever is most important too. So I'm going to give you a couple snaps for that, Heather, just because sometimes when I'm listening to Fly Lady Cat and she's talking about what we need to do, and you guys know Fly Lady Cat is my personal homekeeping mentor, homemaking and homekeeping mentor. One of the things that she tells us is that at the end of the evening, like you can delegate so many different things to your family members because you're the CEO of the home, you can delegate. But at the end of the day, she says it's your responsibility to get things done because you're probably the one that it matters the most to. And when she's talking about these responsibilities, she's looking at getting the kitchen done up, like the after dinner routine, getting the dishes washed, the table cleared, the floor swept, or the dishwasher loaded, the food put away, the stove cleaned off, that kind of thing. She says that is a family responsibility. And even one, if you can walk and carry your plate to the sink, you can help, even if that's all they do is just carry their plate from the table and put it in the sink or over on the counter. They're participating in that. But she says ultimately at the end of the day, though, it's your job to make sure the stove is cleaned off and the pots and pans are done. Because she says you should do the hardest job and your family should do those things that are so much easier. So there's that. So that kind of falls in line with whoever is most important to a little bit there. And Jerry says she thinks everyone in the home should be involved. And I agree, Jerry. Everyone should be involved. From my perspective, everyone should be involved. And your children should definitely be involved. And you need to teach them how to be participants because, number one, you don't want those kids that they leave the house, they go away to college, and they can't do anything. They can't do their own laundry. They don't make their own beds. Their dorm room is a mess, that kind of thing. So you don't want that child. You want them to know how to at least do basic, simple housekeeping, that kind of thing. But I agree, everyone in the house should be involved. So Gamma says she does most of the inside work, but he appreciates what she does enough not to be a slob. He picks up after himself. Okay, that's very good. All women can't say that their husbands pick up after themselves. And as people that live together in one spot, there's always going to be little idiosyncrasies that they have. For example, and I know Leona was laughing at me the other day when I was on her show on Monday because my husband was making his lunch behind me while I was talking to her. And one of the things he does, he'll go in the cabinet, take something out. And if the door doesn't always shut, he's just doing whatever he's doing. He doesn't notice it. If he's making a sandwich, he gets the bread out, whatever, and then he takes his plate away, the bread and whatever is still left sitting on the counter. Those are just little idiosyncrasies of stuff that he does. But there's other things that he does where he is very conscientious about picking up and putting away and that kind of thing. So, not necessarily being a slob, but just doing certain things or doing certain things on their own time. Because probably come back and pick those things up and put them away or not. But sometimes I want things done sooner than later. So there's that. So Heather says she's still going to make her kids do chores. Hopefully he'll get that. Probably another robocall. We get about 10 a day. So yes, Heather, we definitely want to make our kids do chores because they need to learn how to make and keep a home. They need to learn how to clean up after themselves. So we need to start teaching them little. And even when they're like 3 year olds at the daycare, when I've been over to visit my sister to pick up something or another, I'll see the little ones, and when it's cleanup time, they'll be singing a little song. Clean up, everybody clean up, clean up, clean up. It's time to clean up. And the kids are just learning to pick up the toys and put them in the toy box, put the books on the shelf, that kind of thing. So Leanne says she thinks homemaking is the wife's responsibility and homekeeping is the husband's. She sees homekeeping as more of the maintenance side of things. And Leanne, I agree with you as well to a certain degree. Homemaking is the wife's responsibility and homekeeping is the husband's. And homekeeping is more the maintenance side of things. So if that's the decision that you and your husband have come to, then that is the absolute positive right answer. Because you see, what creates a cohesive home might be different from different people. And there are certainly, I don't want to say gender roles because I don't think there's gender roles anymore, other than like, breastfeeding and, stuff like that. But there's really not gender roles anymore. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Now, when I was first married, in the dark ages, we had to have the house had to be lit with candles, and we were using horse and buggy and all that good stuff. Not quite that far ago, but close. But when I was first married, there was a lot more rigid division of roles. You saw more um, gender roles related to what women did and what men did. However, it was beginning to change. So my mom was a 1950s housewife. I was a 1970s housewife. So by the time I got married, there were certain things that I had observed growing up that I had decided I didn't want no parts of when I got married. And one of those things was running around and fixing plates and bringing everything back and forth to the table and waiting on them hand and foot and all that good stuff. I said, when I get married, I ain't doing that. And I didn't. And my mom was home half the time. Like she was home half the time and didn't work for a while, I remember. And then there was a time when she did go out to work. And when she did go out to work, she worked a night shift so she could be home with the little ones during the day. And then when we got home from school, us older ones would take over the care of the little ones and she could get some rest before it was time for her to go to bed at night. My dad worked the day shift. And pretty much she maintained the house and stuff like that. And all my dad and my brother did was they mopped the floors and took out the garbage. Me and my sister were talking about that very thing. That was all they did. Well, all my brother had to do was mop the floor and take out the garbage. But they also maintained the outside of the house. Any painting that needed done, managing the lawn, shoveling the snow, all those outside things they did. And then me and the other girls did the inside stuff. And then they also polished all the shoes. So on Sunday night, we would bring our shoes and then line them up. And then Dad and my brother Greg would polish all the shoes and they would be polished for the week. So that was the things that the guys did. However, as I got older and had my own home, I worked full time. Once I started working full time, because when we first had the babies, I was home, of course. And then once I went out to work, I was working full time. He was working full time. And I remember I would come home from work and I'm getting dinner on and I'm doing the laundry. And I remember I was at the ironing board, ironing his shirt or something. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute. I go out to work every day just like he does. He knows how to iron because when we were in college, he ironed his own clothes. So I know his mother taught him how to do that. And I thought, why am I ironing his clothes? I got my clothes to iron, the kids' clothes to iron, plus all the house stuff. And I'm working too. After that thought, I didn't iron another thing. I'm like, honey, you're going to have to iron your own things. And he was good with it. And he was going to have to be whether he wanted to do it or not, because I was not going to be ironing anymore. And when I was at home, we had ironed all my dad's stuff. We even had to iron his white undershirts, his boxer shorts, sheets, all that good stuff. And so it was like, okay, I was glad to get out from under some of that ironing. But so from my perspective, since I'm working outside the home, he's working outside the home, and we both have these two and then three children to raise, I felt like this is something we need to be doing together. And he was in agreement with that. Now, I still did mostly everything. He did start to help. And from my perspective, it wasn't enough. And as most women think, it's never enough, but it was a help. And then as I continued to observe younger women, I began to see, especially when they came in with car seat, with seatbelt rules and all that kind of thing for children and babies, and those car seats that kids have to ride in were so big and so heavy. I started noticing that the young men carried the babies instead of the moms. She might carry the diaper bag, but the men were carrying the babies because with the baby in those seats, they were so heavy, it was difficult for the woman to carry them. Now, if the woman is single, doesn't have anybody with her, of course, she carries them. But I started to notice, though, that when I would observe couples, the men are carrying the babies and the women are carrying the bag. And I began to see as time came progressed more of a shared responsibility in the home. So what are you guys finding in that regards? So let's see. So Ronnie says her granddaughter is 7 and she helps her cook and clean. Terry says she believes a couple should decide. I agree. She said her and her husband have a very traditional arrangement. She's been a stay-at-home homemaker for nearly 55 years. Now that both of them are retired, he pitches in. And you know what, Terry? Our story is not quite like that because I worked outside the home for a number of years. When the babies were born, I was home for a while. And then when they got to be a certain age, I went back to work. And then when our youngest son was born, I was home for a while. And then I went back to work. And then I worked until I retired. And so now that I'm home full time, I just focus on the home for the most part and YouTube. He retired before I did. And so when he retired first, he started taking over cooking dinners so that by the time I would get home, he would have dinner ready and he would do some house cleaning and stuff like that. But of course, you know, men, I shouldn't say this. Most of the time, men don't clean things to our satisfaction. And when I say our, I mean women for the most part. Now, there are some men that can clean circles around us. I'm not saying there are not those who do that. But many times, if someone else is taking over something that you used to do, you may feel like they don't do it the way you would have done it. And of course, they won't do it the way you would have done it. They're going to do it their way. But so when he retired, he started cooking more and taking more on the household responsibility, except the laundry, which I'm glad of. I don't want him doing laundry. But Terry said her and her husband, they have this traditional arrangement and they made a decision for that to happen. So I'm right with you there. Chanel says she prefers to do the homemaking and have her husband do the outdoor things, but they do tend to pitch in for both. And that's good. I think whatever works for you in your house is what works. But like I said, I see today more and more of a discussion, a decision, and maybe a joint venture in that regards. And here's another thing that we're beginning to see, kind of like a, I don't want to say a backward trend, but we're starting to see a little bit of a trend back into the traditional homemaking role where women are choosing, women and their spouses are choosing to have one person stay home and manage the house and the kids, and the other one go out and make a living. That's fine too. And it's right now, it tends to be more of the women that are staying home to manage the home. But dependent upon income, sometimes you'll see house husbands, and while the wife goes out and brings home the bacon because maybe in the role that she's in at work, she's able to bring home a bigger salary. That's okay. Whatever the two of you decide is okay. And the difficulty, though, if you have a non traditional role reversal is that sometimes the men might take flack or heat or, I don't know, feel a little bit uncomfortable explaining their role to the public. But what works in their home is what works in their home, and it's okay. All right. Hey, Wendy. She said she's just got here, and I forgot I should have done my refresh a long time ago, and I was so busy chatting, I forgot. I didn't even do the welcome, so let me go ahead and do that. I'll do that right now. So, before we go any further, let me just say welcome to Homemaking with Purpose, where we bring to you the best ideas, interviews, and information for today's homemaker. I am Denise Jordan, your host, and tonight's sponsor, as always, is Apron Diva. Pretty and practical. We believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. And you can visit us at www.aprondiva.com. And you can find my Apron Diva shop at the top of my YouTube channel now, where the button says shop. It'll bring you right here. This one continues to be our fall favorite, our thankful, which it is reminding people that we have so much to be thankful for. Our trick or treat apron, we only have one left now, and I plan on answering the door to my little hobgoblins wearing this apron. But it's something you can use when you're working with your family at home. And then you can see our other seasonal collection is right here. So please be sure to visit us at www.aprondiva.com. Okay, so there's that. And then what we're talking about, Wendy, is homemaking and homekeeping. Whose job is it? We talked about the fact that homemaking is an art and a science, and that it is the art of creating a comfortable, cozy home for you and your family. Homekeeping tends to be synonymous with housekeeping, which is more the managing of the home, maintenance, that kind of thing. But in several definitions, it was homemaking and homekeeping were so interwoven that they are almost believed to be the same thing. But we did talk about what some of the differences are. So right now, we're talking about whose role is it, rather, whose job is it, and are there definitive gender roles today as there used to be? If you look at the 1950s housewife model, and again, that is only in certain circles. If you look at that 1950s housewife models, the women stayed at home and ran the house and took care of the kids, and the men went out to work. And then they came home, sat down, read the newspaper, sat down at the table, and the wife, took care of bringing the food to the table and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, in certain circles. In other family situations in the 50s, the women went out to work and then they came home and still had to manage everything at home. So they had to get a sitter for their children while they went out and did whatever they had to do. So let's see. So Miss O says she believes that the best is a shared responsibility. And I agree, shared responsibilities, and how you share those responsibilities is up to you and your partner, or up to you and your spouse. Interesting thing that use of the word partner too, because I was talking to my son last night, my youngest one, he called, and we were talking about letter writing. And he said something about the word partner. He says, I hate that word partner that they use now. But he said your spouse or whatever. Well, the thing with partner is that, first of all, sometimes you may have people who are living together who are not married. So they're not a spouse. They are a partner. I mean, you living together and you're raising a family together. I would say you've moved past the girlfriend and boyfriend stage. So I say partner is more an apt description, because you've partnered in creating a home and raising a family. So I think that's a good description for that. And then, of course, if you're married, then you would say spouse, but some people might still say partner, that kind of thing. Okay. So Wendy says she's only dated one man that was cleaner than she was. Okay. Uh, Gilbo Life says this is a great conversation. And look at that lovely family. Oh, look at that little baby down on that lap. Oh, such a little cutie. So Brene says she's 24 and a homemaker at the moment. Her and her husband had to figure out what worked for them after 3 years of marriage, and she loves their defined roles. So she's 24, she's the homemaker at the moment, and then her husband evidently is the one that's out earning the money to support the family, and her role in supporting the family is managing and maintaining the home. Question, Brene, do you have any kids? Just curious, because you don't have to. I remember I was watching a YouTube channel for, I think it was Tenderness in Time or something like that. And she was a homemaker, a stay-at-home homemaker too. They had just gotten married and had made the decision she would be a housewife. He would go out and work, that kind of thing. And they didn't have any children just yet either. And in many schools of thought, when the husband and wife think that the wife is going to stay at home with the children, they are encouraged then to have the wife stay home from the beginning so that they adapt that lifestyle and get used to that standard of living and begin to kind of incorporate that. So there's just that. Oh, yeah, guys, hit the like button. I always forget to say that. Jerry, thank you for reminding people to do that. So, Miss O said this is a conversation that she and her husband should have had early before marriage. Okay, I agree. Hey, look who's here is Linda from the New Orleans Gardener. Hey, Linda, I am so glad you're here with us tonight. I always enjoy it when you stop by. We are talking about homemaking and homekeeping. Whose job is it? And I gave the definition of homemaking as the art and science of creating a home, having it comfortable and cozy. Homekeeping has more to do with the maintenance, the management of the home. But some definitions say that the terms are synonymous, but they're definitely interwoven. What are your thoughts on that? And everybody is kind of jumping in. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. So, yeah, so that's what we're talking about tonight. So, I think also your thoughts on whose role is it or whose job is it also has a lot to do with how you were raised. Now, that doesn't mean that the way you were raised is the way it always has to be. It just means that whatever your birth family is, your first family is, has an impact upon how you view your role and how you view homemaking and homekeeping today. I shared with you my view when I was a girl at home. Now, my mom's mother, my grandmother, was a homemaker. Grandma, I don't think grandma ever went out to work. She was at home with the kids. Grandpa worked outside the home, and then he was a Baptist minister, so then he didn't work, but other than at the church. And then grandma used to be the church secretary, and she would play the piano and stuff like that. But as far as I can recall, she didn't work outside the home. She stayed home with the kids. My mom worked partially outside the home sometimes, but was mostly home with the kids. Some of her sisters stayed at home, some of them did not. It just depends upon what was going on, that kind of thing. When I was in high school, most of my friends' parents were married. There were just two or three whose parents had gotten a divorce. Just two or three. Today's children, well, okay, that's two or three. When I got married, and divorce became more and more common, um, you begin to see more single moms because once the divorce occurred, then that meant that mother typically was left raising the children. So she was the one, and not only working outside the home, but also working inside the home and doing all that kind of stuff. So, depending upon how you were raised, if you were raised by a single mom that had to struggle, then your perspective or perception of who should do what may vary. If you were raised in a very traditional household but the partner you choose was not, or has specific ideas about how they want their home to run, all of that comes into play. And I remember I was talking with one friend, and her husband was having a discussion. He was upset because she wasn't coming home and cooking dinner and doing this, that, and the other. But she had a very, very stressful job and got home very late. His job wasn't as stressful, and he tended to get home earlier than she did. Also, she made a lot more money than he did, so he had some insecurities in regards to that. So there was one that they were having a conversation about something, and I don't know if she was asking him to do this or that. And his comment was, I'm not the woman in this relationship. So his thought was, because you're a woman, you're expected to do certain things. I was talking with another friend, and she was telling me about her girlfriend and her girlfriend's husband were having a discussion. And there was something, I don't know, there was a leak in the bathroom or in the kitchen. They just needed some kind of plumbing work done. And she told her husband that this was going on at the sink and he needed to fix it. And she said, he looked at her and then pointed to his genitalia and said, does this make me a plumber? And, it's a little crude, but this is what the conversation took place. But like, does this make me a plumber? Meaning that just because I'm a man doesn't mean I know how to do these things or choose to do these things. So, you got all of those kind of things going on in there. So there's that. So Wendy says she feels like gender roles are very complicated right now. Boom, I agree, because gender roles, I think there's a blur, and I don't think gender roles pretty much exist anymore. I think for the most part, other than those gender roles that are enforced because of gender, meaning biological or physiological um, differences, I don't think gender roles are so much. I think now those roles are a conversation, a discussion, a negotiation. So, for that housewife who says, my husband and I have made a decision that I'm going to stay at home and manage the family in the home, and he's going to go out to work, that's not necessarily a gender role anymore. That's more a discussion and a choice. At least from my perspective, that's how I see it. Um, Linda says she's glad to be here. After 25 years of marriage, she lost her husband in an accident. So today she does it all. Yeah, she does it all as just her, and she lives a very happy life. And that's what you have to do. It's like you have to figure it out. And once you get through the most difficult period, you do get to a point where you can not only live again, but thrive again. So there's that. So Brene says, I'm right, 100%. They don't have any kids yet, and she has a great routine now. But when they do have kids, it'll be an easy transition. That she was a nanny and pre-K teacher. Honey, let me tell you something. You can think that if you want to, but when you have that little rascal home with you, all that stuff you learned is out the window. I remember when I had our twins, and I was a junior in college. So I was a nursing student. So I knew a lot about science, and I'd already had pediatrics and all. And I'd had pediatrics, I'd had gynecology, I'd had obstetrics. So I knew all this good stuff. Plus, I was the oldest girl of 6 children. I had an older brother, and then it was me, and then everybody else was younger. And me and my sister Lavina took care of our 3 younger sisters. And like Mickey Blue Skies and my other sister Lynn, they were the babies. And so we swore that they thought we were their mother because we took care of them so much. So I'm like, I know how to take care of a baby. Girl, when my mama left, she came and she stayed with us for 2 weeks to help with the babies. And when she left, I was like, Lord Jesus, how could she leave me like this? Me and my husband thought we were going to pull our hair out trying to figure it out. And I remember that probably I had them babies at the doctor every week for the first 2 months because there was always something coming up. And my mother wasn't right there anymore. She had gone back home, and, we were a good 4 or 5 hours away. So we weren't, she wasn't close by. We didn't have any family close by. So we just had each other to depend on, or. So I'm thinking, I'm a nurse, almost. I only had 1 more year of school. So I'm thinking, I know what to do with babies. When I had them babies on my own. So I'm hoping your mom is close by or you got a good friend. Because trust me, the role you had as a nanny and a pre-K teacher will come in handy. But trust me, it ain't nothing like being on your own with those babies or that baby for 24/7. So trust me, it's a whole new ball game. Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you guys. Ignore me. Everybody else knows me. You guys, I'm sorry. So Patience says her mom was traditional and stayed home until her sister and she was older, and then her dad would take care of the yard and anything too strenuous for their mom. Yeah. And so, see, my husband is old. We're still old school. He's old school. So it's like, I don't carry things. He carries things now. My husband is 2 years older than I am. We are both getting up there, but he's still like, I don't even carry groceries. Like, I choose to get groceries on days that he's going to be home so he can carry them in the house. So I don't have to carry them in. And I'll tell you when I started that. I started that. I was working at the VA with another nurse. Her name was Linda Rui. And I remember that Linda said that she had gone to the grocery store that her husband was fussing about, when was she going to cook and all that stuff. And she was like, well, honey, as soon as you bring the groceries in, I'll make dinner. She said he jumped up, ran out, brought the groceries in. I was like, oh, I hadn't thought of doing that. So I started doing that. It was like, okay, when I would bring home the groceries, I'd say, honey, can you and the boys bring the groceries in? And they bring the groceries in. So to this day, I drive up him, and if my sons are here, they come out and they bring the groceries in. My daughter at her house now, her husband and sons, they go out, they bring the groceries in, and I put them away. And I really don't want him putting the groceries away because then I'm playing search and seize, trying to figure out where to go. But while he's bringing them in, I can start getting stuff put away. So yeah. So, but there are certain things. I don't know how I got on that. This is a fun conversation, though. I am really enjoying this. So, Wendy, I'm glad you were here with us today. Chanel says, yes, workforce makes it hard for people to conform to roles or to be confined to roles. I'm not sure which one you mean, Chanel. But yeah, sometimes the workforce does make it difficult. But now the workforce is required, I do believe, to give men maternity leave. So when the wife has the baby, they are required, I believe, by law to allow the man a certain amount of time off so that he can be at home with the wife and the new baby so they can just kind of bond as a family. So there's that. Oh, thank you, Miss O. Thank you. I appreciate that. Guys, we had a porno person or another that was on here and I got him blocked. Mickey Blue Skies is not feeling her best, so she was off. So I had to take care of that. But I think we're okay now. But if you guys see it and I miss it, jump on and block them. So Tina Weber says she works full time but she's home based. Since working from home, my boys assume I have time to be a full time homemaker, cook, clean, laundry, etc. No, you don't, Tina. You really don't. Tina says that the only thing her three boys do is mow the lawn and shovel the snow. Now, when I was at home, like I said, my dad and my brother, they mowed the lawn, shoveled the snow, took out the garbage, mopped the floors. That was what they did. When I got married, when we first got married, my husband took care of the lawn and all that kind of stuff, mopped the floors and took out the garbage. And I was kind of doing everything in the house. And then gradually we started to where we were sharing more responsibilities because I just couldn't do it all. I just could not manage working full time and then coming home and taking care of the kids. And then when I was going to grad school and I had to be away after working full time and then have to leave and drive an hour or so to go to grad school, that meant he was home with the kids more. And so he was doing more stuff. And we just shared more responsibilities in that regards as well. Now, Tina, this is the thing though. Um, Fly Lady Cat says if you work full time, but you're home based, you are working full time. So it's even though you're working inside the home, you're supposed to be applying that time to your job. You're not supposed to be trying to separate or eke out things that you need to do at home when you're working from home. It says you need to be paying attention to that job full time. You'll have your lunch break, and then you might have the 2 15-minute breaks that you're allowed if you're working like an 8.5 hour shift, that kind of thing. But that even if you're working from home, you're a full-time homemaker, so your weekly plan and your daily routines are going to be quite limited. For example, your morning routine is just going to be pretty much getting you, yourself, and your kids together, getting the kids out the door for school, and then getting yourself situated at your computer so that you can start work. And then at night before bedtime, your daily routine might include your daily swish and swipe, that kind of thing. Or if you get up an hour before your family, you might be able to get the daily swish and swipe in, meaning swish the toilet, wipe down the sink, that kind of thing, dishwasher unloaded before the kids get up. Then you get them up, put them through their routines, get them sent out the door, and then you take care of yourself and you work. And then at 4:30, 5 o'clock, when you're off work, you can start dinner, those kinds of things. If you're putting stuff in a crock pot, you might be able to do that on a break. But you are not expected to do all the things that, say, I would do, or that Nefertiri would do, or one of the other women here who are home full time and they're not working at home. So even though you're home full time, you're working full time. So you cannot be I shouldn't say you cannot be, but you probably shouldn't try to be doing everything at home during the day plus maintaining that job, because it's like you're doing double duty, and you may be doing a disservice to your boss if you try to do that. So yeah, don't let outside people assume that just because you're home and you work from home that you got time to do stuff, because you don't. You got work obligations just like people that work outside the home. Patience says her husband takes care of all things heavy and strenuous, and she rarely pumps gas. That's the one thing I hate to do is pump gas. Now, I do have to pump my own gas. If I ask him to take my car and fill it up, he will. But most of the time, I just get the gas while I'm out. But I hate to go to the gas station. And he used to always lecture me when we were first married. He would fuss, now, don't nickel and dime the tank. When you buy gas, fill it up. So it used to be like he would take the cars and fill them up like on Friday or whatever. But then sometimes I wasn't available with the car. But he would always like fuss, like, don't nickel and dime the tank. Make sure you keep it full or at least half full. And one time I ran out of gas. And I had to call him to come and help. He came to help, but I had to hear, I told you not to nickel and dime the tank, told you to keep the tank full, all that good stuff. So I make sure I don't run out of gas now because I don't want to have to hear it. You know what, Tina? First of all, they're boys, they're children. And they say you nag, say, look, no, I'm not nagging. We live in this house together. We need to keep this house together. I'm not the maid. We live here together. So depending upon how old they are, they can all help do something. And you should tell them to do, whether they like it or not, these are the expectations and they need to help you because you work full time and they need to help you with your home. So just have that conversation and say, I'm not nagging. I am requiring your participation in managing our home. I'm sure they don't mind asking you for money or to help drive them here or there. You do those things because you love them. And so they should do these things because they're part of the home and they love you. So tell them that it's not nagging to be asked to be a functioning member of the family. Ah. Brene says she has nothing compares to having your own, but she thanks God that she's also had, being a postpartum doula. Okay. Her family's nearby and she'll be calling on them. That's good to know. Yeah, it is a lot of work. Yeah, it is a lot of work. Patience says we sound like her parents. She used to do the same thing. Well, I'd go to the gas station to get like $5. And he called that nickeling and diming the tank. It's like, look, you go to the gas station, fill it up. Whereas I didn't like to go to the gas station, so I would wait till I was almost out of gas or the light would come on in the car and then I would go. So, yeah. All right. So, what are your thoughts? So, I think we've had a lot of conversation about whose job is it, and I think we've come to the conclusion that today it is both parties' job, both male and female. It is the couple's job to maintain and manage the home, and it's okay if they do some negotiation about who's going to do what. It's okay. What works for you in your home is okay. Can you guys believe we've been on an hour already? This just seemed like to go so quick. I can't believe it went that quickly. Well, for those of you that have joined us late, we've been talking about homemaking and homekeeping. Whose job is it? And we have come to the conclusion that it is a shared partnership. It is a collaboration between two people, including the children, of who's going to manage the home. And you want to start teaching your children when they're young to help you so that when they get a little bit older, they're not resistant. But even if they are, you're going to say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but you need to assist me by doing this. And then when they don't do the things that you need them to do, there are consequences, and you can determine what those consequences are. But the children want cell phones, they want money to go to ball games, they want to go to movies, they want to go to Starbucks and do all these things. All those things have a price tag, and they should have some chores that they do in the house to help earn some of those treats. Okay. Let me ask you guys a question. So last week, the question that I asked you guys was about letter writing and those kinds of things. And I have not been getting the validation that I've been wanting. So I'm still thinking about that. But then I was told that I probably should just ask you guys, what kind of course would you like to see me create? That was the question that some people said. They said, look, you have a YouTube channel. Your expertise on YouTube is homemaking and homekeeping, and which includes cooking, cleaning, laundry, those kinds of things. Ask your people what they would like to see from you. So I'm asking you guys the question now. What would you like to see me do if I was to create a digital course for you, a digital course that you could purchase at a cost? What would you like to see that be? Something related to homemaking, homekeeping, what? And if it was related to that, um, like some simple courses starting with certain areas. So tell me what you think, what you might like to see that be like. So there's that question. While you guys are thinking about that, I my list of 15-minute tasks for the week, and I'll type those in because I didn't create a PowerPoint. I didn't want to do a PowerPoint tonight. I just wanted us to chat. So my 15-minute task include on Monday, I cleaned the microwave and the microwave cabinet. Tuesday was my free day. So today, Wednesday, I cleaned the cabinet above and below the microwave. And the spelling might be off a little bit. Cabinet above and below the microwave. I got my weeks mixed up. And then tomorrow is going to be the cup and glass cabinets. And then Friday is going to be the plasticware and dish cabinets. let me make sure I spell this right, because anybody on the replay, they won't know that I was just typing it in real quick. And they'll be thinking, dang, what's wrong with her spelling? So let me get this spelling right. Okay. All right. So my 15-minute task for the week, and I've been trying to share with you guys the 4 15-minute tasks that I've chosen to work on each week. And I've got them written in my planner so that I know how I am deep cleaning or zone cleaning my home. If you guys recall, the 15-minute task is the zone cleaning or the deep cleaning that I do. So I clean the microwave and then the cabinet that the microwave sits on. I move the microwave off, set it on top of the stove, and then scrub underneath it real good. I was surprised all the gunk that was underneath the microwave, just like little dried up crumbs. There was a pin, that kind of thing. And then put it back in place. But clean the microwave out real good inside and out, polish the silver, yada, yada, yada. Today, which is Wednesday, I cleaned the spice cabinet, which is right above the microwave, and then the pots and pan cabinet, which is below the microwave. And when I say I cleaned them, I used like the method Wood for Good. I just wiped it down real good with that first, and then I used the Lemon Pledge, or no, it wasn't Lemon Pledge. It was some kind of a wood cleaner that has oil in it to clean the cabinets after that. So I cleaned the wood cabinet above and below the microwave, and then right above the oven hood. So took about 20 minutes today. Tomorrow, which is Thursday, I'm going to clean the cup cabinet and then the glass cabinet right there above the counter. Again, cleaning it. I'm looking at the outside, the wood part. And all of my cabinets are like this kind of wood, like this. Oh, I forgot I didn't put an apron on her, so she's naked. Sorry about that. But the cabinets are that kind of wood, so I cleaned them. And then on Friday, I'll clean the cabinets right next to the dishwasher. That cabinet next to the dishwasher, right below the silverware drawer, gets so dirty. I guess because I'm cooking, or not cooking, but prepping stuff right above that area, and so things get dripped on it, splashed on it. Anyway, it's a hot mess. But those are the things that I'll be doing this week. So I want you to be thinking about, what are your 4 15-minute tasks for your zone cleaning or your deep cleaning? And was actually week 1. I got mixed up, but I was thinking it was week 2. So Saturday was one day in zone 1. So I started working on the porch. If you guys didn't see the video where I swept my porch and started to put in a little porch decor, that was like on October 1st, which was the first day of Vlogtober. And then, so I got that done. And then, so I was thinking, okay, so this is week 2. So I planned all this kitchen stuff. And then I talked to Fly Lady Cat. She was like, no, this is week 1. So we're going to have a discussion about, getting those weeks sorted out. But anyway, so I'll have to do week 1 next week, since I'm already working on week 2. All right. So Tina says she would like to see things on time management. Jerry, how to maintain emergency. Oh, okay. Proper processing for food preservation. Cleaning schedule planner. Paula, I'm not sure what you mean by that. A cleaning schedule. So you would like to see me do a digital course on a cleaning schedule with a planner associated with that. Home management, how to teach and include your children. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, those are good ideas. For those of you that are on the replay, please, as you go through, let me know what kind of a digital course you would like to see from me. And, it's really so funny that I'm talking about this, because when I was in my accountability group and I was talking about It was just really getting the validation for the letter writing course. And they were like, well, why are you working on that anyway? And I'm like, well, because I like that. And I thought that would be fun to do. They're like, but yeah, but what do your people want? I was like, oh, well, I guess I should ask them. So I'm asking. So there's that. Oh, how do you become a homemaker being a single mom? Asia, listen, you're a homemaker. Now, here's the thing. Just because you work outside the home does not mean you're a homemaker. If you work 24/7 outside the home and you're only home 10 minutes a day and you're making a home, if it's just you and your boo, or you and a family, you are creating and making a home. If you're a single mom, you've got one or more little people there, you are making a home. So don't get it twisted. Don't think you have to be home full time to be a homemaker. You do not. People that work full time outside the home, those women that are working full time outside the home, they are still homemakers. They just have to split their time between their homemaking role and their worker role outside the home. So if you're working outside the home, you just have to decide when you can get your things done around the house. Because see, what you're thinking about is the home keeping role. You already doing the homemaking role. You've got a place for your family that they can feel comfortable. And you know what, Asia, what I want you to do, send me your address in the email. Let me put my email up here. Oh, it's okay. Send me your email and I'm going to send you a apron note. And I forgot to talk about the apron note. I almost forgot that. This is the apron note for today. Just so you know you are appreciated. Just so you know you are appreciated. But Asia, that's not the one I wanted for you. And I don't have them all up here. But I think for this one, this is the one you need. A cozy home isn't always Pinterest perfect. See, a cozy home is how you make the people who live in your home feel. Do they feel comfortable and cozy? It doesn't mean your home has to be spotlessly clean, because whether you're a good housekeeper or a poor housekeeper, whether you're a good cook or a mediocre cook, whatever it is that you do, you are already making a home. And trust me, for those people that are on a relatively limited income, when those families get home and they walk on that door, I don't care how poor it is, they're glad to be inside their doors and to sit down and be able to walk into their kitchen and open their refrigerator and feel comfortable to be able to spread out on the floor or run into the bedroom and do whatever people do at home to make themselves feel comfortable. So you are already a homemaker if you're a single mom, because you've got a family to make a home for. And if it's just you, you're making home. Now, the home keeping is what you need to probably get under your belt um, in a way that you're comfortable. And you just have to figure out when that time is. For most of you, as Fly Lady Cat says, payroll homemakers, meaning you work outside the home or you work full time inside the home, most of your home keeping activities are going to be on the weekend. But what you can do is start a load of laundry every day. Throw a load in before you go to bed that night. When you get up in the morning, put it in the dryer. So by the time you walk out the door, it's done, or throw it in the wash before you leave for work. Put it in the dryer when you come in. You're going to have to use your clock wisely, depending upon how old your children are. When can you get them down for the night? That kind of thing. If they go to daycare, it might be 6 o'clock by the time you get them home. Give them a quick dinner, play with them for an hour or so, get them in the bath, and then it's time for them to go to bed. And then it's time for mom to have an hour or an hour and a half of peace and quiet before she's got to start it all over again. So there's that. Let me come back over here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, honey. I don't think you. I hope you don't feel like I'm going on a going down a rabbit hole or on a soapbox. But I just want you to know that you're a homemaker right now. It just might be the homekeeping piece that you're struggling with. And like I said, send me your email address so we can do that. Oh, I got a super sticker. Oh, hang on, let me get it up here. Leanne gave me a super sticker. This is my first super sticker. I've not had one before. Oh, hooray! I got a super sticker. Thank you. I just love that. Okay, so okay. Okay, so now Asia, I was thinking the cozy home is a Pinterest perfect, but there's also the other one. Ladies, now you guys have seen a lot of these apron notes, but here's the other thing. Here's the other note that might be good for you, Asia, and that is overwhelmed, focus on one task at a time. Now, I think, Asia, one of the things for you to think about is this. What you need to do is find a system of home keeping that works for you. When I was a young mom, I did not have a good system. And I tell you what, it was catch as catch can. And I had those twins. And I tell you, I always felt like I was pulling my hair out, like things were just overwhelming, that kind of thing. And then as I got older and became more accustomed to managing a family, it got better. Oh, excuse me. I wish I had discovered the Fly Lady cleaning system much earlier, but it changed my life. So I encourage you to look up, send your email address here, send your mailing address here, this and that with Denise at gmail.com. Send it there. And this is who I want you to check out. So a better life with Cat. This is Fly Lady Cat, and she changed her name to no, it's not a better life. It's declutter your life with Cat. And what she does is, I think she helps explain the Fly Lady system in a very simple way. So I encourage you to watch her videos, A Better Life with Cat, and look at how she explains how to do the Fly Lady cleaning system. It is a series of routines that help you get your house under control. It keeps things down at least to a dull roar so that you don't feel overwhelmed. And it gives you a way of managing those things that are driving you crazy. Like right now, my office is a hot mess because I've been in here every day working on 2 or 3 different projects. So it's a hot mess. But I'm not worried about it because I know I'm going to get to it. It's like I learned to say, I see you and I have a plan for you. But the other parts of my house, they're good to go because I've been working on those things every day. Right now, we are in boot camp. It started on Monday. And so, what she's doing is we have to make sure we're getting all our daily routines done every day. And then at night, we have to send her a message that we got it done, if not, or we didn't. If there's something we didn't get done, we let her know what we didn't get done. And then we get KP. KP is cat punishment. And so she gives us a punishment for whatever it is that we didn't do. And it's probably, okay, you got to do it tomorrow and you have to do it twice. So, like, let's say I forget to do a swish and swipe today. And so tonight I sent her the SS that I didn't get the swish and swipe done. Then the KP could be, then I got to do the swish and swipe tomorrow twice. So maybe in the morning at the regular time, and then maybe once again at bedtime, just to kind of reinforce that, you got to get this done every day. So think about that. But also, send me an email too. So, and then now see, you're getting some support right here from little sister Jerry. She says she's a single mom also, and she uses one of her days off to meal prep. That way she's not trying to cook every night. And I was talking to my youngest son yesterday. He called yesterday. He lives in Georgia, and he said he cooks 3 or 4 times a week. Him and his wife, they kind of share those duties. And he said one of the things he does sometimes is he'll cook 3 or 4 things on the weekend and have them in the freezer so that when he gets home or whoever gets home can just pull something out. So that's kind of a negotiation or collaboration that they do. But yeah, you might consider, and meal planning or meal preparing is one of the biggest jobs that we have. So you might consider um, taking some time on the weekend to cook a couple things. Or as some of the ladies will tell you, when you cook once, cook twice. Like tonight for dinner, I cooked a turkey tenderloin. Those little, you can buy them, they're in a bag about this big at Kroger. They used to be $6 or $7.99 for like a little tenderloin roll. And I put it in the oven, and they come in 2 pieces. So you get 2 pieces and you put them together. And so I sliced the 1 piece for us to have for dinner tonight. And I told my husband, don't get the other half. That's going to be for dinner on Sunday. And I made a big pot of mashed potatoes. So for Sunday dinner, we're going to have turkey tenderloins, we're going to have mashed potatoes. And I'm not sure whatever else we're going to have, but we're going to have those two as our meal starters. So you can do that. So think about some easy ways, but send me your email and we can chat some more. So you saw where to send the email address right there. This and that with Denise at gmail.com. And she was saying that sometimes she bites off more than she can chew. So you get overwhelmed because you try to do too much at a time. You can only do one thing. And that's why I've been sharing my 15-minute tasks. Those are my deep cleaning tasks for the week. So the daily routine is where I will get up. I will get up and do my yoga. And I would get up, hit the bathroom, and then I put on my yoga clothes. And that's why I'm kind of like dressed like this tonight, because I put my yoga clothes on. And then I got busy. I just got in the mood of cleaning, unloading the dishwasher, got the laundry started. I got all these things done that I needed to do before I changed out of yoga clothes. So when I had to leave the house, I just put this dress on top so that I wasn't running around in yoga pants. So there's that. But the daily routine includes getting up and do whatever kind of exercise or meditation or whatever it is you have to do. You hit the bathroom and then you make your bed. And then once you make your bed, you do a swish and swipe in the bathroom, which is you just wipe out the sink, switch the toilet, wipe down the mirror. Because if your kids are in there brushing their teeth and stuff and they're spitting the sink up, so you want to get that out. Okay, I got to get that banner off of there. That's driving me crazy. So you want to do that. And then once you get that done, you put yourself through your morning routine, get your kids up, put them through their morning routine, get them out the door, you get yourself out the door, and then you're off to work. When you come in from work, you want to do a clutter stop. And this was one of Fly Lady Cat's things. You do a clutter stop before you leave for work, which is you check those spots where people are more likely to leave things. In my house, it's on this little railing between the dining room and the family room, or on this little table that's in the kitchen. It's a good place to just sit things, or on the top of the counter. So you check those things, make sure there's nothing left sitting there, and then you get out the door to go to work. Pick up the kids from the daycare, you get home, and then you already took the meat out the night before or that morning before you went to work. And so you've already got something out to cook dinner, get that laundry out of the wash and into the dryer, feed the kids, give them their baths, get them ready for bed, read them a story, kiss them, all that kind of good stuff, get them down for the night. And then it's time for you to finish up in the kitchen, unless they're big enough to help, and then get yourself ready for the night. And in addition to the daily routine, we have a weekly plan. On Monday is the weekly home blessing, which you're stripping your beds and throwing those sheets in the wash. You're emptying all the little trash cans in the house. You're wiping down the glass, like the mirrors, like I have a glass coffee table, that kind of stuff. Sweeping all the floors, and you're just sweeping like down the middle. You're not like going around all the corners and making everything perfect, but just the major walkways, vacuuming, mopping, those kinds of things. But 6 little things you do to kind of bless your home so that it's nice, neat, and clean, and it's good to go for the week. Tuesday's your free day, but you still do your daily swish and swipe and those other routines. Wednesday is plan day. So that includes um, paying your bills if you have any. Of course, you have any, but paying your bills, filing anything that you might need to file, ordering your groceries, doing your menu, uh, getting things situated in your planner, those kinds of things on Wednesday. So you do that in addition to your daily swish and swipe. On Thursday is errand day. So on Thursdays, I go to the post office box, I get my hair done, I'll pick up groceries if I've ordered them, or I might go out and actually buy groceries on that day, but usually I don't. If I'm going to, I usually get groceries on a Friday or a Tuesday. Um, and then Saturday is family day. So if you work full time, then that means on Saturday you're going to spend the first hour after your daily swish and swipe. You're going to use that first hour doing your weekly plan or your zone cleaning. So that's what I meant. You're going to spend that hour doing your zone cleaning. So those 15-minute tasks that I told you I was going to do Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, if I'm busy all week, then I'm going to push those to Saturday morning and I'll do those that first hour. And then Sunday is renew your spirits. You're going to go to church or relax at home or whatever it is you're going to do, church, synagogue, temple, whatever it is that you do. And then Monday it starts all over again. So Jerry, it's certainly some good advice for Asia. Oh, hi Asia. Thank you. Good. Oh yeah, Asia. If you cook every night, try to cook a couple meals so that you, let's say you cook something on Monday, then you got something else that you can use on Tuesday or on Wednesday, that kind of thing. For if you do roast chicken on Sunday, then you can do chicken and dumplings or chicken and noodles or something like that on Tuesday or Wednesday. Those kinds of things. Yes, Miss O said, Miss O, I learned that from Fly Lady Cat. It says, I see you and I have a plan for you because everything you might need doing, but you can't do it all right now. So it's like, okay, I know that I need to clean this desk off for the next 2 weeks because my son's going to be here for a family occasion. So I already know that I'm going to be putting this on my list of things to do. Hey, Dee, good to have you. John Burns, good to have you here again as well. So, yeah. So, okay, look, we've been on for an hour and 32 minutes. I had no idea we would be on this long, but it has been a fun conversation. I have enjoyed it. So I need to go downstairs and talk to the hubby. Like I said, he came in from fishing just as I was about like 7:15. So I slammed that food on the table. I scarfed it down and then I ran upstairs while he was starting to kind of clean things up and get the dishes in the dishwasher. So I'm going to go downstairs now and say a little bit of hello to him and make sure that everything's done in the kitchen, get the last of my evening routines done because I do not want to get KP. I did want to ask you guys something else, but now I forgot what it was. I did ask about what kind of course you guys would like to see. What else? I suppose I talked about that. Oh, I got Happy Meal. I got a letter from Debbie Johnson. Oh my goodness, it was such a nice letter. In the letter, there was an article that she sent me about romanticizing your life and slowing things down. And there was a tea bag in it because you guys know I've been like exploring different kinds of teas. And she sent me this new tea bag, this new kind of tea. So I'm going to have to buy some of that too. So there's that. And don't forget to check out Apron Diva, www.aprondiva.com. Check out my last video, how to clean your garage, 7 tips. I guess that's it, guys. So for more homemaking inspiration, click the link that'll pop up on your screen once I sign off. I'll see you guys next time. Good night. Thank you guys so much for joining in. This was a lot of fun. And thank you. I will have a good week. And bye, Dee. It was good to have you here. I will. And yes. Good night.